A Flash in the Dark, Chapter 13, Dizzy Spells. Barry grinned as she raced out of the fire, the last person left outside with the others. She raced away as the fire truck approached. She was about a mile away from the scene when she deemed it safe to pull to a stop in an alleyway. She wanted to pull down her cowl, but decided against it in case anyone saw her. She tapped the communicator built into the neck of her suit. "Everyone's out! What else you got for me, Cisco?" she practically chirped. She was absolutely loving this. There was a pause before there was a response, but not the one she was expecting. "Barry, it's Caitlin." Her voice was clipped and annoyed. Barry tensed, swearing under her breath. She tried to sound nonchalant. "Hey, Caitlin. I can explain," Barry said, not sure how she was going to do that. Caitlin sighed exasperatedly. "Get back to Star Labs. Now," the doctor demanded. Barry nodded to herself. "On my way." She released the button and made to set off at a run, but stumbled and had to grab hold of the dumpster next to her to steady herself. She shook her head and took a deep breath. In a moment, the feeling was gone, and she raced off to Star Labs. One long rant from Caitlin later, Barry was quickly changing in one of the back rooms and racing off to a crime scene to do her day job. She was in the middle of analyzing evidence from the gun robbery when she felt another dizzy spell and was forced to grab hold of the desk to stop herself from collapsing onto the hard floor. "I blame you, Barry. I could have taken European folklore to cover my sociology requirement, but no! You said take journalism, Iris. Reporters have all the fun. Guess what, Barry? Reporters have none of the fun. Journalism is boring. I'm bored. I blame you." Iris ranted as she entered the room. Barry shook her head as she glanced over at her foster sister, who was dressed up in a pink lacy dress and matching heels. "What?" she asked, raising an eyebrow at Barry. Barry shook her head again, partially in answer to Iris's question, partially to try and clear the lingering dizziness from her head. "Nothing. You look nice. Date night?" she asked, trying for a teasing tone. Iris frowned, blushing slightly, as she had for the past few days whenever Barry teased her about Eddie. "No, and you should look nice too. Remember, the university is honoring Simon Stagg with some award, and you promised to explain the science for my article?" Iris reminded her, hand on her hip, looking annoyed. Barry nodded, remembering quite clearly the conversation now. She swore under her breath. Iris leaned on the table. "How fast can you get home and change?" she asked, sounding skeptical. Barry grinned to herself. "Pretty fast." Barry raced home and dug through her closet, but she couldn't find a good dress. Then she tripped over her suitcase, the one she'd taken to Starling, and grinned slightly. She changed rapidly and braided her hair as she rushed down the stairs. Iris stared for a moment as Barry got into her car. Barry glanced at the radio's clock. "We're gonna be late," Barry pointed out. Iris shook her head as they began the drive. "Where the heck did that dress come from, Barry? Is that Versace?" Iris demanded. Barry grinned slightly. "It was a gift. From Oliver," Barry explained. "Curse you and your nerd allure," Iris said, her eyes glimmering with amusement and a hint of jealousy. Barry laughed. "Oliver and I had a talk. We both decided that a long-distance relationship wasn't going to work out," Barry said. She left out that they'd had a short talk face-to-face nearly a week ago when Barry ran to Starling. Iris shook her head, patting her foster sister on the hand. "I'm sorry, Barry." "What about that cute guy who bought you coffee at Jitter's?" Iris asked, pulling into the parking lot. Barry grinned a little. "We've been texting. I think he might ask me out soon. He seems nice. Says he works in art acquisition," Barry said, only blushing a little. Iris raised an eyebrow. "Like for an art gallery?" she asked. Barry shrugged. "He wasn't specific," Barry said, frowning slightly. Iris nodded as she pulled into the parking lot. The ceremony itself went well, but then the robbers, they had to have been the same ones from the gun store, 6 guys with identical guns, showed up. Barry glared as they took Iris's necklace. Iris put a hand on her shoulder. Then the security guard stepped up to try and stop them. They took the shot all at the same time, and Barry acted, yanking the security guard out of the way at super speeds, leaving him in the back entrance of the building. She raced out of the building and was about to take off after the van when a wave of dizziness overcame her and she collapsed to her knees, trying to breathe through it. Her world spun and went gray, and then everything went black. She didn't even feel herself hit the pavement.